Society constantly programs you with a massive, highly destructive biological lie. From the moment you are born, you are aggressively conditioned to believe that action is always inherently superior to inaction. You are taught that when chaos suddenly erupts in your environment, or when someone close to you is about to make a completely terrible life decision, you must immediately step in, take charge, and fix the problem. You genuinely believe that jumping into the fire to rescue people from their own stupidity makes you a noble, highly competent leader. Let us completely strip away your ego and look at the absolute clinical reality. Your desperate need to intervene is not a sign of immense strength. It is a highly predictable, deeply emotional reflex of a fragile nervous system that cannot tolerate uncertainty. For the top 1% of elite thinkers and true high-performers, the psychology of doing nothing is not a symptom of laziness. It is the ultimate, highly classified psychological weapon. The biological power of passive observation is completely misunderstood by the average masses. When you intentionally choose to sit back and do absolutely nothing while a chaotic situation unfolds, you are deploying a highly advanced cognitive strategy. You are actively stepping out of the emotional matrix and transforming yourself into an untouchable apex predator. By the end of this uncompromising clinical breakdown, I am going to completely destroy your toxic savior complex. You will discover exactly how stepping back and letting average people completely fail exposes their deepest psychological blueprints. More importantly, I will hand you the exact elite Stoic framework used to quietly extract psychological intelligence from your competitors, allowing you to completely dominate any chaotic room without moving a single muscle or speaking a single word. Listen to me very carefully right now, because your specific neuroplastic window to permanently rewire this massive behavioral flaw is closing faster than you can possibly realize. Every single day you instinctively react to chaos and try to save people who do not want to be saved. You're permanently wiring your brain to act as highly reactive, easily manipulated social prey. The biological damage of constantly absorbing other people's toxic energy compounds aggressively hour by hour. If you choose to click off this video right now, you're consciously electing to remain an exhausted, highly predictable pawn in everyone else's drama forever. Master this brutal clinical truth today to build your impenetrable mental fortress, or permanently surrender your valuable cognitive leverage to the noisy, chaotic crowd. The power of total detachment. Let us completely divorce ourselves from social morality and clinically dissect the exact neuroscience of total detachment. What physically happens inside your brain when you witness an escalating conflict or a massive mistake unfolding right in front of you? The human brain is mathematically wired to detect anomalies. When you see a problem, your primitive amygdala instantly registers it as a threat to the tribe's stability, which directly spikes your cortisol and adrenaline levels. Your sympathetic nervous system, the fight-or-flight mechanism, is violently activated, screaming at you to intervene and restore order. Here is the terrifying clinical truth. Acting on that impulse actually requires zero mental discipline. Jumping into the argument to fix it is the path of least biological resistance. It is an automated reflex. Protecting your nervous system from chaos, however, requires an immense, highly advanced level of prefrontal cortex inhibition. When you actively choose to deploy tactical silence in social dynamics, you are literally forcing your brain to override its millions of years of evolutionary programming. You actively suppress the sympathetic spike and intentionally force your parasympathetic nervous system to remain in the driver's seat. This means while everyone else in the room is rapidly burning their daily glucose reserves, experiencing massive heart rate spikes, and violently depleting their dopamine baselines, you are remaining in a deep clinical state of neurological rest. You are aggressively hoarding your neurochemistry. Elite operators understand that cognitive energy is a mathematically finite daily resource. They absolutely refuse to subsidize other people's incompetence with their own highly valuable neural bandwidth. The secret power of deep thinkers lies entirely in their ability to endure the intense, burning friction of unreleased action. They master the terrifying discipline of standing perfectly still in a burning room and simply watching the flames consume the wheat. Why average people expose their weaknesses? You must accept a cold, undeniable reality about human behavioral psychology today. Average people are absolutely terrified of the void, and they possess zero capacity for emotional regulation. When a crisis hits, or when a massive error is made, the average mind desperately craves external feedback to calibrate its own panic. This is exactly why Stoics let people fail. When you completely remove yourself from the equation and offer absolute, unblinking silence instead of a helpful solution, you create a massive psychological vacuum in the room. Because you are no longer providing them with emotional instructions on how to react, they are forced to deal with their own internal chaos. This is why average minds expose themselves so quickly. Without your guidance to mask their incompetence, their true behavioral blueprint violently leaks out. The panicked employee will immediately start throwing their colleagues under the bus to save themselves. The toxic partner will launch into highly irrational manipulative monologues to justify their terrible behavior. The incompetent leader will desperately overexplain their flawed strategy, completely unspooling their logic in real time. You do not have to interrogate them. You do not have to aggressively demand the truth. By simply weaponizing the void, you become a flawless psychological mirror. The silence creates an unbearable pressure that squeezes the absolute truth out of them. They will willingly hand you every single one of their hidden insecurities, their malicious intentions, and their critical weaknesses. If you had stepped in to help or fix the situation, you would have completely interrupted this massive data leak. You would have accidentally saved them from exposing their true nature. The elite observer knows that doing nothing is the fastest mathematical way to force an enemy to completely unmask themselves. You will absolutely never hear this raw, unfiltered psychological framework from modern lifestyle gurus or mainstream corporate leadership seminars. Mainstream culture actively, heavily profits from your desperate need to be a highly empathetic, hyper-involved team player who constantly sacrifices his own peace to fix a broken system. They desperately need you to remain highly reactive, permanently exhausted, and constantly carrying the emotional weight of average people. The clinical architecture of the psychology of gathering data silently is a heavily guarded, highly classified secret that top-tier negotiators, elite intelligence officers, and true Stoic masters use to maintain absolute leverage over their environments. If you miss this exact biological protocol today, you will remain easily baitable and highly exploitable in every relationship you have. Wake up and claim your unfair cognitive advantage right now. How silence extracts psychological intelligence. Let us ruthlessly analyze the exact mechanics of extracting psychological intelligence from highly toxic individuals. Dark manipulators, narcissists, and chaotic actors do not operate on logic. They operate strictly on emotional feedback loops. They survive by throwing out calculated provocations, insults, passive-aggressive comments, or fabricated crises, and mathematically measuring exactly how you react. They use your anger, your defensive explanations, and your desperate attempts to keep the peace as raw data to map your personal boundaries. When you deploy absolute, non-reactive Stoic philosophy, you completely destroy their entire operating system. Imagine a narcissist aggressively trying to bait you into an argument, and instead of defending your honor, you simply look at them with dead, calm eyes and do absolutely nothing. You offer zero facial expressions, zero verbal defense, and zero physiological reaction. You instantly cut off their biological oxygen supply. This creates a terrifying asymmetry of information. Because you are giving them absolutely nothing, they have no idea what you are thinking. They do not know if you are secretly recording them, if you are planning to destroy them, or if you simply find them entirely pathetic. This massive lack of data drives their primitive amygdala into a state of severe biological panic. To regain control, they will rapidly cycle through different manipulation tactics. They will try anger, then sudden kindness, then playing the victim, completely laying out their entire psychological playbook right in front of you. You learn exactly how to completely dismantle them in the future, while they learn absolutely nothing about you. This is how to extract psychological intelligence effortlessly. This is exactly why quiet people hold the leverage in every single high-stakes dynamic. The trap of saving others. We must now aggressively attack the deeply rooted illusion of your own ego. You need to clinically examine the psychological trap of being helpful. When you constantly step in to save people from the brutal consequences of their own chronic laziness, terrible financial choices, or toxic relationships, you tell yourself that you are being a deeply loyal friend or a strong leader. Let me shatter that illusion completely. Your savior complex is entirely narcissistic. Overcoming the need to fix others requires you to admit a painful truth. You are not rescuing them because it benefits them. You are rescuing them because their failure makes your nervous system feel deeply uncomfortable. You are alleviating your own anxiety, not theirs. Furthermore, when you constantly intercept the natural consequences of their actions, you are actively robbing them of the only biological mechanism that creates real change: sheer, unadulterated pain. Pain is the ultimate, undefeated teacher in the natural world. If you constantly shield a fool from the pain of his own stupidity, he will never update his neural pathways. He will remain a permanent parasite, completely dependent on your cognitive energy to survive. You must stop saving people today. Elite thinkers dominate a room because they possess the terrifying emotional discipline to let a failing system collapse. They understand that trying to catch a falling knife will only leave them with deeply severed tendons. Your primary biological directive is to protect your own empire, your own mental clarity, and your own capital. Let the harsh, unforgiving architecture of the real-world discipline the ignorant while your hands remain perfectly clean and deeply protected in your pockets. The strict mathematical cost of your severe inability to mind your own business is absolute and devastating. Your pathetic, desperate need to play the heroic savior is actively destroying your stoic potential and severely draining your masculine energy. Every single time you break your calculated silence to intervene in someone else's self-created chaos, you compound your massive neurological debt. You will physically and financially pay for this profound weakness with a permanently exhausted brain, severely shattered focus, and a life entirely consumed by the problems of average, ungrateful people. You have exactly one highly critical minute left to permanently reprogram this massive cognitive failure. If you actively ignore this clinical blueprint, your mind will remain a highly reactive, easily manipulated dumping ground for other people's chaos forever. Listen very closely to these final, highly tactical instructions. The elite protocol for stealing data. You must absolutely build your silent cognitive shield starting today. You need to rapidly and aggressively cure your fragile ego and master the highly terrifying art of total, calculated detachment. This is not a passive philosophical theory. These are strict emotional regulation techniques for men who want to dominate their reality. Here is your exact clinical blueprint for tomorrow. When a crisis that you did not create erupts in your environment, or when a toxic colleague makes a massive, highly visible mistake, do absolutely nothing. Do not rush in with a brilliant solution. Do not offer unsolicited advice. Maintain a cold, relaxed, entirely indifferent physical posture. Sit back, maintain wide visual awareness, and let the chaos play out exactly as it is meant to. Notice the massive, terrifying spike of pure adrenaline flooding your chest. Your weak, primitive ego will absolutely scream at you to jump in, take control, and prove your massive value to the tribe. Let that weak, primal urge violently die right there in the dark. Endure the intense friction of inaction. Step directly into the fire of the unsaid words. Watch the panic spread among the average minds. Watch closely as the masks completely fall off and people reveal their true, terrified nature. You are no longer a participant in the drama. You are a ghost collecting high-level military intelligence. Sit quietly with your own terrifying power. Realize that their absolute failure cannot pierce your physical vessel unless you willingly invite it in. Train your central nervous system to find absolute, unshakable ataraxia in the face of sheer incompetence. Your own complex, highly analytical mind is your ultimate impenetrable sanctuary. You do not owe anyone your precious solutions, your highly valuable cognitive energy, or your protective shield. Let the loud, average masses completely exhaust themselves fighting the consequences of their own actions. You are busy building an unshakable, massive empire in the quiet shadows. You are fiercely protecting your cognitive battery at all costs. Master the brutal art of passive observation, weaponize your total silence, and you will become fundamentally untouchable today. Subscribe to successfully master your own primal psychology. Hit the bell icon right now to secure your mental leverage. Check the elite, highly classified resources in the pinned description below. Protect your powerful mind from the loud, incredibly weak crowd. Deploy tactical silence, stop saving average minds, and become the undisputed master of your reality today.